Instagram, TikTok, in their terms and conditions, it says anything that you post here on this platform, we can take it, use it, alter it for our own purpose. So we can market, we get a picture of you, Meredith, and we love your curly hair. So we are going to market a curling iron. But you're not going to profit from that because we own your pictures now. We can edit your pictures. We can have access to your phone, your contacts, your credit card information. Anything that's on your phone, you're saying, yes, you are allowed to have access to that.
It's going to be a really neat behind the scenes.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so weird.
Because something always magical happens.
Wait, what? Did you just make that up? Hey, it's Meredith for Real, the Curious Introvert. Listen each week as I talk with someone new. The topics are as ADD as I am, but they'll inspire you to stay curious and grow.
Big thanks to our location sponsor, the UWF Historical Trust.
Hey, Curiositors, it's me, Meredith. Digital privacy is such a weird thing, especially for content creators like me. But it's a weird thing for anyone who wants to learn about something without going to the local library, or anyone who wants to keep in touch with long-distance friends without buying a plane ticket. But information gets sold, databases get breached, and our conversations get listened to. So how do we exist in a modern world but maintain a degree of digital privacy? Well, after this episode, I know I've made some changes, and I suspect that you might too. If not for yourself, for your kids if you have them. I compiled the tips in an email that you can get by texting REAL to 66866. Also, we did have some kind of electronic interference that affected the audio quality in this episode, especially in the first half, so thank you for your patience with that. And if you're new here, welcome. Every week I talk with a paradoxical person whose life experience or expertise makes us curious and gives us an opportunity to grow. You can browse episodes by subject matter on my YouTube page and then watch it there or listen here, youtube.com/meredithforreal/playlists. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the show. We all joke about our phones listening to our conversations. We're creeped out for like a minute, and then we get over it as soon as Amazon suggests exactly what we've been looking for. Just me? Maybe not. You might wonder why, in a world where we post geotagged photos of our lunch, should we even care about digital privacy? It turns out, though, that it's more than just Google knowing you binge watch Avengers and love Taylor Swift. It's actually not even all about protecting your passwords. My next guests make it their business to know digital security. And today, they're going to spill the tea on your favorite apps and give some practical strategies to live in the modern world, but leave less of a digital footprint. Co-owners of Your Tech Solutions and super digital duo, Josh and September Dye. Thanks for coming.
Can we pause? It's Your Tech Professionals.
Your Tech Professionals. I'm so sorry. Thank you for correcting me. It's even on your shirt and I didn't get it correct.
That's okay.
Your Tech Professionals. How long have y'all been doing that?
3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and Josh has been doing it forever.
Before that.
Yeah, pretty much ever since I could reach a keyboard. I've been into technology when my grandmother sat me in front of one.
So it's been a minute.
It's been a while, yeah.
Well, I have to tell you something I'm a little concerned about with this episode. So, let's just start with a confession. I'm a little bit concerned that people will see this episode in the same way they see the Netflix documentaries about how livestock is slaughtered. And they'll go, I don't want to know. And they'll just run covering their ears and not listen to the episode. So can you please tell me that you've got some non-doom and gloom stuff for us today?
Yes, sort of.
That is not a good sell.
Sorry. I'm not sure. I guess it's to each their own on how they would take what information we give. I mean, some people will find it, like a revelation that, okay, that makes sense, that this is what they're doing with it and this is the reason why they're doing that. And then some people that are very protective of their privacy might take it a little bit towards the doom and gloom side.
Okay. Well,
but there's some positive, and it depends on where you want to take things when you're using your social media apps. If you're looking to be like the next Justin Bieber or someone that wants to be noticed, then those are perfect avenues for you.
Oh, well, I know that's Josh's goal, so yeah. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Well, like I said before, Google, I've said this before, that I kind of like how Google knows I'm looking for a neon animal print bikini, right? It's very helpful because, as Josh probably knows, neon bikini print or animal print bikinis are very hard to find.
Yeah, I'm totally looking for that too.
I know.
But what's cool is that now that
link.
you've shared that with us, I'm sure that
An ad will pop up.
you'll find something here in a little bit.
And yeah, it'll be very uncomfortable for you, I'm sure. But why is this way of thinking about privacy misleading? The idea that like, oh, it's just helpful that Amazon and Google curate what I need for me. Why is that not the whole story?
Well, I would say that it's a lot on the back end. What people realize is happening versus what is actually happening on the backside. So are people coming out and telling us that they're using audio recordings and stuff of your daily life or activities for that matter in your daily life to sell you ads and things of that nature? If you go through the terms of agreement on a lot of your social media, you'll see in there that they do state that they're allowed to do such and such and such activities with your activities, and sometimes even audio recordings. For us to have Alexa and Google Home, for instance, there's certain terms in there that probably are a little bit misleading and confusing for a reason. I would say that it's all based towards selling advertising on the back end, because that is how these giant companies make so much money. Google is, Alphabet for that matter, is an advertising platform. And targeted advertising, which a lot of us business folks understand, is targeting people that are interested in a certain type of product. So if they're able to tell these businesses that, hey, we can take your advertising dollar and put it directly at the customer you're looking for, they can raise that amount by factors of 10.
Raise the
amount of what the business would sell that advertising for.
Well, like another, and you made a good point, like it's an advertising marketing. So Instagram, TikTok, in their terms and conditions, it says anything that you post here on this platform, we can take it, use it, alter it for our own purpose. So we can market, we get a picture of you, Meredith, and we love your curly hair. So we are going to market a curling iron. But you're not going to profit from that because we own your pictures now. We can edit your pictures. We can have access to your phone, your contacts, your credit card information, anything that's on your phone. You're saying, yes, you are allowed to have access to that. And for some people, that's, okay, I like my apps. I like to watch my people. I like to post things and share things. And they're okay with that. But I think it comes down to the question of, if you're not okay with sharing it, then it's probably not best to use those. And then if you have kids using those, what information are you allowing your kids to put out there and post, and what kind of people are you exposing them to on the social media apps? It's becoming
a very big legal concern as well. There's been a lot of different bills and stuff that are being introduced about digital privacy. In fact, I believe our governor just signed one in not too long ago. What effect that's going to have on social media and how they use our information in the future, it's up in the air. But each of the platforms that you mentioned, they all have different terms and conditions in those terms of agreement, and we all hate reading them. I'll be honest, I don't read them myself, not to every single letter, because the way I feel is that right now is it's an open world as it is, and I'm an open book. So I'm that type of person. I'm no longer an introvert about my privacy. My life is out there, and I'm okay with people seeing it. But I respect people that want their privacy just because they want the ability to be private.
Right.
So that's where, if you're that type of person, read those terms of agreement and make sure that you're okay with them doing exactly what they're saying in there.
Well, you bring up a good point. It's really about consent. What you said about we can use your images and use them to market other products. As somebody that gets paid to be a commercial model, that is not okay, Right. But it's all about, you do know what you're agreeing to.
Right.
So for the average person that doesn't have a business, just the average person, what are the risks for them to not care at all about digital security?
would say it just basically puts you out there. Like, don't expect anything to be private. It's the safest way to think of it. If you want something in your life to be private, then just make sure that you don't do that around social media or advertising on social media, because just like, again, I'm going back towards business, but it does affect people that don't own a business as well. But if you're going to apply for a job, most businesses are checking you out on social media before they hire you.
What if your account's private? Can they still see it?
Certain settings can keep you from being completely obvious, but
Certain posts.
yeah, but like Instagram, for instance, I mean, I don't really think they have a privacy setting for that kind of stuff, or TikTok, definitely not. You're just out there for the world.
But you can have a public or a private account on Instagram.
Yeah. So the other thing too is some of the ads that are in Instagram necessarily aren't always, I would say, there could be fraudulent ads on there. So there have been a few instances where folks have put their credit card information in there, ordered that product that's targeted to them, and the product never comes. And there is no response. And all of a sudden the email or the website disappears.
Yeah.
So it's happened to several folks. So that's the risk that you're putting out there, is when you're agreeing to these terms and conditions, you're agreeing to allowing yourself to be vetted out or sold out to these other companies to say, Meredith loves, this certain shampoo. So all these companies are coming at you, and you're putting yourself at that risk to say, I'm going to put my credit card information in there. It's not a real company. They're going to disappear after they collect my money.
Right.
And you don't get it back. And that's a whole trend. It's like Facebook too. You can go on there and check. There's a box in there that you can say, do not sell my information to a third party. And folks don't really know about that. We're on Facebook. We're sharing our information. We're like, hey.
Sometimes they also just put that down there with the pay now button, so you don't have the option.
Right.
So by clicking this, you're agreeing to us being able to sell this to third parties.
So again, there is definitely a problem around the legal jargon around how we consent to these things.
Yeah.
But since you brought this up, what other settings do we need to know about? First of all, where is the setting that says you can't sell my information to third parties on Facebook?
So it's in the settings, and Facebook has a lot of different ways. We'd have to look through it together, but it'll say, do not sell my information.
Okay.
And you check the box. It's really hard to get to, though. So you've got to play around with the settings and find it. If not, you're basically telling Facebook, again, you can use my pictures, you can use whatever I post, and use that information. It's free for Google or for Facebook. And it's targeted marketing, right? So they're selling your information to other people to say, in Pensacola, Florida, this is what these folks like. This group over here loves Mary Kay products, so do that there, or whatever it is. And they're just selling your information. But they're not telling you all the information that they're selling. And no one really knows what everything in it, what's all being sold.
So it's free for all a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can take it two ways, though. So one side of the fence is that they want to stay private. The other side is that they're okay with having targeted advertising because that can be a benefit. I mean, our little guy's grown up now, right? So we don't really need diaper ads anymore. And they know he's grown up, so they know we don't need diaper ads anymore. And
That's a little creepy.
Yeah.
Thought they know about your kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I feel like there's a strong internal line for me, and I just felt it on behalf of you. I was like, oh, don't mess with my kid.
Yeah. I get
I
that.
have another concern about how this information is delivered and curated, and so I want to know your opinion on it. But because when I was thinking about, like, what are the dangers, I certainly am not that privy to what are the technical dangers. And you have experience with clients who've been hacked and their businesses have been held at digital ransom. In fact, Buzzsprout, my podcasting platform, was just the victim of a DDoS attack. And so I got to learn what that meant.
Yep.
But they didn't give them money, and they overcame it. But the concern that I have is from a social perspective, that our interactions are being tracked. Like, I have my GPS on. It shows that I'm with you because you have your GPS on. The internet beings see that you believe certain things about these three social issues. They see that I believe similarly, so they're going to curate more articles and information and posts that are surrounding that belief and insulating us in, that system of thought. And I think that is very divisive as a society. I don't know. Am I totally just going off the rails here, or
No.
What you said is fairly accurate. It's everything comes down to a database, and we're all aligned in this database that says Meredith, believes in this, and Josh is sitting there with her. So they're probably talking about this, or they know that you have a podcast, so now they can see that September and I are both here. So that database can establish that more than likely what's going to be released soon is a podcast about technology from Meredith. Mm-hmm. So, in that's just this scenario. There's thousands of people working on the algorithms that this does, but most of the driving force behind it, and the financial force behind it, it comes down to advertising. I would, and this is just my belief. This isn't anything that is known to me by actually seeing it or anything of that nature. But I don't believe that there would be any other malicious use of this information because there would be no benefit for someone to as far as like Alphabet or Facebook to have that information and not sell it. That's how corporations work. They need more income to keep growing. So I don't feel like it's a danger that they know that we're doing this right now. It's just that they realize that we're together, and knowing my background of liking technology products, I might start seeing microphone advertisements coming up pretty soon. So
I mean, they'll be right next to that bikini ad.
Yes, right. Exactly.
So yeah, that's interesting. When you follow the money trail, I think a lot of things are revealed. When it comes to privacy, the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy without reasonable cause, meaning the government can't just record you without a warrant. The Patriot Act ended in March of last year, so we're officially back to that. So I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but can the government request information from these companies on their behalf to investigate you if they feel like it's necessary, but they don't have a warrant?
Hey everyone, just a quick interruption to show gratitude to our sponsors and give you some special deals. So I don't have kids, but I also want to tell you about It's Your Magazine. They're a national family-centered publishing company with free parent magazines. They have parenting advice, events, and inspiration. I'm actually in a networking group with the publisher, and this guy is all about family. You can view a free magazine in cities in Texas, Oregon, Washington, and Florida by checking them out at itsyourmagazine.com. And INSEC. So I've always felt iffy about pesticides. Then the mosquitoes got so bad, I would get covered in them from walking from my house to the car. I called INSEC, and to say I've been impressed is an understatement. When the treatment wasn't quite doing it, the owner actually came to my house. He found the breeding sites, identified the species of mosquito, and adjusted my treatment to that species. That's when I found out he's also a beekeeper, and pollinator issues are always top of mind. So if you're in the Florida Panhandle or Gulf Coast of Alabama, give him a call, ensec.net. Now back to the show.
I'm not a lawyer, but from what I understand, so that was my disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, so if I say what is wrong here in a second.
This does not constitute legal advice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So can the government look into what you're doing? With probable cause or warrant, I believe that they're still allowed to go to your internet provider and say, hey, we need all of the internet history on this individual, and the internet provider will be more than happy to give it to them.
With a warrant or without?
I believe it has to be with or with probable cause or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think as far as how that give and take happens at your internet providers, I mean, I don't know what the back end of that is. I haven't been involved in anything to witness that. Mm-hmm. But I would assume that most of the time, if someone from the FBI shows us legal identification, that more than likely they're going to get what they want. Mm-hmm. I would, as far as what I believe the law tells us, is that yes, they do require a warrant, but with what Snowden had showed us, that was a whole different story.
Watch that; you'll be real creeped out.
So if if that type of activity is still happening even after it was exposed, then, and there's no way for us to really know.
No.
So again, it comes back to, if you want your privacy, don't do it in front of technology.
Very true. Yes. When you said the government or the companies would more likely oblige to give them the information, it made me think of the terrorist attack here at NAS. The terrorists had Apple phones. Apple would not give the FBI that information. So are Apple products safer?
They were able to get into it, and they were able to get into it on their own.
What?
Yes. So
Did you hear that, Caleb? He's always trying to convert me to Apple.
So they were able to get into it on their own. They were able to trace down a lot of information through his phone.
Really? You take great joy in telling us that, don't you? You're like
little
trying
bit.
not to smile. I see this smugness coming through.
It relates back to my younger days of technology before, things were so, white and black as far as what was acceptable on the internet versus what was not. So, I got, my hands dirty back in the early days of technology.
Got it.
Figuring out how things work and stuff like that. So that young kid in me, when I heard the FBI was able to hack into iPhone's system and decrypt the phone, it gave me a little bit of a grin, because it kind of took me back there. I was like, there's always a way.
There's always a way. It's never private. Nope. Let's talk TikTok. What you got?
After the sell from China and the U.S. company, they took it. I still don't feel like it can be completely safe. I mean, it comes down to the same scenario with.
Well, if you go and look at the terms and conditions of TikTok, it's a rabbit hole. So it says, if you agree to this, we can use, kind of like Instagram, we can use your information, we can use your phone contacts, we can use what you're browsing, anything you do on your phone, basically, we have property of. It alludes to that it's only going to use it for like advertisements or to sell products or to get people to come back onto TikTok. You've lost your right once you post it on there, though. And I think when I say it takes you down a rabbit hole, it takes you like, okay, well, here's our video thing. Now go read this terms and conditions. And, oh, wait, now we're going to take you over here. So by the time you've jumped around, you're confused about what you're agreeing to. And then at that point, you're just like, okay, well, I just want to lose an hour of my life and just scroll through and be entertained, right?
Right, yeah.
So, again, it comes down to what are you willing to expose out there. But if you're on TikTok doing those crazy dances and things like that, you probably just don't care anyways. You're probably just like, I'm just having fun. I think it really comes back to kids. In one part of the terms and conditions, it talks about like 13-year-olds can do this and a parent's consent. Well, how many kids come up to you and say, hey, Mom, can I get on TikTok? No, kids are downloading it. They're getting into it. They're not putting credit card information, but they're young and they're on it, and TikTok isn't necessarily removing that content for these young kids. So people can talk to you through TikTok. So again, for me, it comes down, because I do have a 6-year-old, it comes down to what are you allowing your kids to go to and see. Those terms and conditions say that we can use that information. And that makes me think, if you've got these 13-year-old people, kids, girls, boys, putting their information on there, it opens up a door to pedophiles and just a whole world of bad people out there. So
it's the new white van. And it's like what Josh said about there's always a way. So imagine somebody who's a human trafficker, they just follow the digital footprint of where the child frequents. Oh, look, there's an image of the school mascot in the background. I can definitely see from a parental view where it's a hard case for non-use. Talk to me about Instagram, because you had some other insights about that.
So Instagram's kind of the same way. I mean, it tells you that we can use your information. But Instagram, people are putting their locations up there. So I can easily see that, hey, Meredith was at the beach today because she marked that she was at Pensacola Beach and she was doing this and doing that. I can track you. I can follow you. There's messaging again. So it's open like a gateway. And I know this isn't a human trafficking one, but it does. It opens the door for it. People start following different folks on Instagram that they can start talking back and forth and, hey, let's meet. It's kind of like, the old Messenger where you used to join all these groups.
AOL.
Yes. And create these friends groups. So it's just really about creating parental controls, looking at the terms and conditions, and then knowing that whatever you put on Instagram is going to be shared. At one point, I couldn't find it in the terms and conditions, but there was something that was going around that said that they could actually see you through your camera, that they could use you through your camera. In their terms and conditions, I couldn't find it. I was looking for that because it had been so pushed out there. And even what are they called? Influencers left Instagram because they didn't like the fact that their whole life was put out there without their permission. The whole camera aspect.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, when you shared that with me,
Yeah.
I was like, no longer taking the phone to the bathroom with me.
Right.
Because you're doing stuff and then you're like, oh, I gotta pee. And then, that's
Yeah.
real life. And
It is.
I was like, well, I don't need to be doing that anyway because that's weird. But everyone does it, which is
It's
why
probably a
I'm willing to
common part of
share
life
it
nowadays,
because,
right?
yeah, it's just you're glued to it. You're willingly carrying around with you a tracking device all the time. Speaking of cameras, should we be putting tape over our laptop cameras? Can they really be activated remotely even when the computer is off, like they did in Snowden?
If the computer is off, they can turn it on and keep the screen black and do it, yes. But, so, safety-wise, if it's a laptop, just close the lid. If you're worried about while you're sitting there, if you're working from home and you have the top part on but nothing on the bottom, then maybe... go ahead and put one of those privacy things on there. It can be done. There's utilities, and it's not just the government that's doing it. There's third-party hacking groups from overseas that actually have more funding and more influence than what our government does, and they are able to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's a really great point. It's not so much, you have all these terms and conditions that you've agreed to that maybe you haven't read through, but you're also open to, and that's the worst part, is the hackers, the information that they can get and sell and share, and you just don't know where it's going. At least Google and Instagram and TikTok kind of tell you they're going to use it for marketing purposes, where hackers may use it for more malicious purposes.
Wow. Yeah, that definitely takes the security to remember when we used to have colors after 9/11? It's that's code red or whatever. We're at deep orange at least.
It's more common than people think that it happens, though.
I unplug my webcam. I have a one that I add to my screen, so my laptop is closed, and then I unplug it when I'm not using it because it creeps me out. Okay, are you guys ready for some rapid fire questions?
Go for it.
Okay. Is there an alternative to Google?
Yes, DuckDuckGo. They do not take third-party or your information and sell it to others. I would say that they are on their way to becoming as useful as Google. They're not quite as integrated as what Google is, obviously, when they don't have the funding behind like they do, because they're not selling for advertising. They do still do advertising, but it's not based on what you're doing online.
But a little less integrated might be what a listener would be desiring after this episode.
Exactly.
Cookies. Who doesn't like cookies? Do we accept cookies?
Again, depends on what you're on the website for. Some websites require cookies in order to even visit them. And what cookies do basically is it does track what you're doing on the website. So that way when you leave the website and come back, you can sort of start where you left off.
Or they send you an email.
Yeah, there's those.
I got an email from Urban Outfitters of 2 items that I screenshot, and they emailed. They were like, "We have a feeling that you like this," and I was like, "I have a feeling that you're creeping me out."
That's exactly what they did. Yeah.
Okay,
Because they saw you left off on that page, and
Yes.
you stayed on that page for so long, because it does time you too. Actually, that's something to bring up on Facebook as well, is that when you're scrolling, or any of those, when you're scrolling and then you stop because you're somewhat interested in something that popped up, that flags. It's not that you clicked it, it's that you stopped and looked at it for a second. It flags that you were interested in that, and then as you keep scrolling, it might come up again because you were interested in it.
I think for a lot of people, that's too much. Does incognito mode on browsers do any good?
It keeps it'll erase the cookies when you leave. If you've signed into anything in incognito mode, it doesn't matter. They already know who you are.
Wait, I have Google. I'm signed into Google all the time. So if I just open a new browser.
Well, if you open an incognito browser and you went to your Google account, it's going to ask you to log in.
Oh, no. This is like, you want to look for flights, but you don't. Okay, so yes and no. And should we be shutting off our location setting on our phones?
It just depends. For like companies, they use it to track their teams or what jobs they've been to, mileage for businesses. Josh tracks me all the time. Like, I know you're at Target again.
Oh,
right?
snap.
Like,
that is
spending money
next
there.
level.
Little stalkers. Where's my dinner? It's ready to go.
No.
Where's my dinner? It's all about food.
Just kidding.
Truth comes
She
out.
usually makes me cook.
But when you're like, because I do homeschool.
Yeah.
And so I go to my homeschool group. So that's like a privacy setting that I turn off because I don't want everyone to know where we're meeting. The other thing that you may just not want to know or not have your location on is, if you're just not wanting to be found or it to be tracked. You may have a bad relationship where you want to keep it off so that they can't find you.
Yep.
Yeah, and that is a whole nother potential episode, isn't it? Wow. Are there any other tips or best practices that you want to leave for listeners who want to be a little less trackable?
Really, it comes down to doing a search, and don't do it on Google. It's search for ways to protect your privacy on DuckDuckGo, for instance. There's a lot of resources out there, and there's a lot of other advocates for privacy that have lots of great information. It's going to be a lot more than that would be another episode as well if we went into all of the different, avenues that are available.
Because until legislation can catch up, they seem to be taking their sweet time. But until they can put some boundaries in place, then we kind of have to take that extra effort in reading the terms and conditions and not just trusting that, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, where can people engage with you if they want to learn more about their own digital security or maybe for their business?
Yeah, absolutely. They can always go to our website at www.yourtechpro.com, and that's TEK. Visit our Facebook. We are very interactive with our Facebook through our messenger, and they can just give us a phone call too. If there's a suspicious email or ad or something that they just have questions on, or they want to know how to change some of their settings on their computers or, through the Facebook app, we'd love to sit down and talk to them. Internet security is a big passion of ours, and we want to make sure people know how to protect themselves and their little ones.
Yeah, and grandmas and grandpas too.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
that would be something really special that people could buy for their aging parents is maybe a security session so that the child doesn't have to feel like, I have to be a tech pro to help grandma with, not falling for scams and getting extra spam in her email or on ads or whatever. That's a service that you could probably provide. So
Yes, my 62-year-old father has joined TikTok, and we had a conversation about it's time to get off there, Dad.
Well, thank you guys so much. This was amazing. That's a wrap. Woo! Thanks for listening. Speaking of techie stuff that's both creepy and cool, stay tuned next week for when I talk with a major in the U.S. Air Force and the CEO of a robot company about security robodogs. Talk to you next week.